apartment building, trying to steady her breath. She wasn't running, but her heart was. For months she had lived in fear, doing everything she could to protect her 9-year-old daughter Lily from the chaos left behind after her husband's death. Tonight was supposed to be a simple walk home from the grocery store. She had promised Lily they would make hot chocolate and watch a movie together before bed, trying to bring back some sense of normalcy. But as the thunder rolled across the sky and the evening light dimmed, Emily could feel the familiar tightness in her chest. The feeling that trouble was near, that danger had a way of finding her even when she tried so desperately to stay invisible. Lily held her mother's hand, her small fingers trembling slightly. She could sense her mother's tension like a wire pulled tight. Emily forced a smile, brushing a wet strand of hair from Lily's forehead. "Almost home, sweetheart," she whispered, trying to sound confident even though her voice cracked. The alleyway was a shortcut, but one she rarely used. Tonight the wind had picked up and the rain was falling harder. She just wanted to get Lily inside where it was warm. But the moment they turned the corner, Emily froze. 3 silhouettes blocked the end of the alley, tall and wide, standing too still to be harmless. The men didn't speak at first. They watched her with the kind of hungry stare that made Emily's stomach twist. She had seen them before, hanging near the convenience store, lingering on street corners, stirring trouble because they had nothing else to do. One stepped forward, wiping the rain from his shaved head. "Long time no see, widow," he said with a crooked grin that made her blood run cold. Emily instinctively pulled Lily behind her. Her heart thudded in her ears. She knew these men, or at least she knew their reputation. They had approached her once before, asking for money, claiming they protected this part of town. She had ignored them then. Tonight they weren't planning to be ignored. "Leave us alone," Emily said quietly. "We just want to go home." Her voice trembled despite her best efforts. The men laughed in unison. The second thug kicked a metal trash can aside, the loud clang echoing through the alley. Lily flinched and clung to her mother's coat. The third thug stepped closer, his boots splashing through a puddle. "You owe us for passing through our street," he said. "Maybe a little extra for disrespecting us last time." Emily shook her head. "I don't have anything." That was the moment everything changed. The man grabbed Emily's arm, yanking her forward so sharply she nearly slipped. Lily screamed, but Emily kept her eyes locked on her daughter, desperate to reassure her even as terror surged inside her. The thug's grip tightened. Rainwater dripped from his chin as he leaned close enough for her to smell the alcohol on his breath. "You'll give us something tonight," he hissed. "One way or another." Emily pushed him away, but the other two moved in too quickly. A fist struck her side, knocking the air from her lungs. Another blow caught her shoulder, forcing her to her knees. Lily cried out as Emily clutched the ground, trying to shield her daughter with her body even as multiple kicks rained down on her back and ribs. She begged them to stop. She begged them to leave her daughter alone. But the men didn't care. Their laughter blended with the thunder overhead, as if the night itself wanted to swallow her whole. In the chaos, Lily tried to pull her mother away, her small hands shaking as she cried for help. Emily could barely lift her head. She felt the world spinning, her vision blurring with tears and rain. She whispered Lily's name over and over, as if saying it could somehow protect her. She didn't know what would happen next. She didn't know if they would take Lily. And the thought nearly broke her. Just when it felt like the night had closed in completely, a sharp bark cut through the rain. Deep, commanding, impossible to ignore. The thugs paused. Another bark followed, louder this time, echoing off the walls of the alley. The rain parted around the shadow that moved toward them, fast, precise, like an approaching storm. A dog stepped into view first, a massive German shepherd with soaked fur, ears pointed forward, and eyes blazing with intensity. He growled low, his muscles coiled, his stance unwavering. Behind him walked a man dressed in a dark hoodie and tactical pants, his steps deliberate, controlled. He moved like someone who didn't fear danger, someone who had lived through it too many times to be intimidated by 3 street thugs. The tallest thug cursed under his breath. "Who the hell are you?" he demanded, trying to sound brave. The man didn't answer at first. He knelt beside Emily, gently placing 2 fingers against her wrist to check her pulse. His touch was calm, steady. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "I'm here now. You're not alone." He looked up at Lily, who stood trembling, her cheeks wet with rain and tears. "Stay behind my dog, sweetheart. He won't let anyone hurt you." The thugs exchanged uncertain glances as the dog growled again, stepping protectively in front of Lily. The man finally rose to his full height. Rain dripped from his jawline, and his eyes were sharp with a cold, trained focus, one that made the thugs take a nervous step back. "My name is Ryan Hale," he said. "United States Navy SEAL, and you just made the worst mistake of your lives." The moment he spoke, something shifted in the alley. There was no fear in his voice, only conviction, grounded and unshakable. The thugs tried to regain their swagger, but it was too late. Thor, the K9, lunged forward with a powerful bark, stopping just inches from their legs. The men flinched as Ryan moved faster than any of them could react. He stepped in, grabbed the first thug's wrist, twisted, and pinned him against the wall in one fluid motion. The second tried to swing at him, but Ryan ducked, delivering a sharp elbow to the man's ribs, dropping him to the ground. The third thug attempted to run, but Thor chased him down, snapping his jaws inches from the man's ankle, forcing him to freeze in terror. Rain poured harder as Ryan ordered the men to stay down. His voice carried the weight of authority, the kind that didn't require explanation. One by one, the thugs were disarmed of the knife they had hidden and forced onto the ground. Ryan took out his phone, calling the police with a steady voice that made Lily stare at him like he was some kind of hero. Once the danger was contained and sirens echoed faintly in the distance, Ryan turned his attention back to Emily. He crouched beside her, wiping the rain from her cheek with the gentlest touch she had felt in months. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I promise." Emily tried to sit up, but her ribs screamed in pain. Ryan immediately placed a supportive hand on her back. Lily rushed forward, hugging her mother tightly. Emily wrapped her arms around her daughter, holding her close even though every movement hurt. She looked up at Ryan, tears mixing with the rain. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You saved us." Ryan shook his head. "Thor and I were just in the right place at the right time." He looked at Lily, who was staring wide-eyed at the German shepherd. "But this guy," he said with a gentle smile, "he's the real hero." Thor nudged Lily's hand, letting her pet him. For the first time that night, Lily smiled. It was small, but it was real. When the police arrived and took the thugs into custody, Ryan stayed with Emily and Lily. He walked them home, carrying the groceries in one arm and holding a small umbrella over Lily with the other. Emily leaned against him whenever her ribs ached. She felt something unfamiliar but comforting, a sense of safety she hadn't felt since her husband died. Inside the small apartment, Ryan helped Emily sit on the couch while Lily fetched a blanket. Thor curled up at her feet like he had known her forever. The warm lights of the room softened Ryan's hardened features. He handed Emily a warm cup of tea Lily had made and sat across from her, making sure she could breathe properly. "You'll need to get checked out at a clinic," he said softly. "I can drive you. You shouldn't move alone tonight." Emily looked at him, exhausted and emotional. "Why would you do all this?" she whispered. "You don't even know us." Ryan leaned back slightly, his expression thoughtful. "Because no one should face something like that alone. I've seen too many people suffer in silence. Tonight, I wasn't going to walk away. Not when you were calling for help with your eyes even before your voice did." Emily felt tears slip down her cheeks. For months she had survived on fear and loneliness. Tonight a stranger, one who had served his country, one who had nothing to gain, stepped into her life like a force of nature and reminded her that kindness still existed. That night marked the beginning of something unexpected. Over the next few weeks, Ryan checked on Emily and Lily often. He drove them to appointments, helped repair the broken fence behind their building, and even taught Lily how to call Thor in different commands. Emily watched as her daughter slowly laughed again, slowly trusted again, slowly felt safe again. One evening, as Lily played fetch with Thor in the living room, Emily sat beside Ryan on the couch. The room was warm, the smell of fresh cookies in the air. For the first time in a long time, her heart didn't feel heavy. She looked at Ryan, her voice soft. "You changed our lives," she said. Ryan shook his head gently. "No, you changed your own. You fought for your daughter. You survived. I just showed up when you needed someone." Emily smiled, A full, genuine smile that reached her eyes. Showing up, she whispered, is sometimes the greatest act of kindness. The truth settled in the room like a warm blanket. Sometimes help didn't come in grand moments but in unexpected storms. Storms that arrived not to destroy, but to protect, to heal, to remind people that humanity wasn't lost. Months later, on a bright spring morning, Lily stood on her tiptoes to hug Thor around the neck as Ryan looked at Emily with the same steady warmth he had shown the night he saved her. Their lives had changed because one man refused to walk away, one dog refused to back down, and one widow refused to stop hoping for a better life for her daughter. And in that hope, kindness found its way back into their world.